Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. Just wanted to speak today about perspective and how we see what's going on in our lives, how we view it. And I wanted to speak about a specific character in the Bible, and his name is Joseph. So first of all, I'm going to start with reading from Genesis chapter 37, verse 23 to 28. And it goes, "Now when Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped him of his tunic and distinctive multicolored tunic, which he was wearing. Then they took him and threw him into the pit. Now the pit was empty, there was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat their meal. When they looked up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, east of the Jordan, with their camels bearing ladonum resin for perfume and balm and myrrh, going on their way to carry the cargo down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, 'What do we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us instead sell him to these Ishmaelites and Midianites, and do not lay our hands on him, because he is our brother and our flesh.' So his brothers listened to him and agreed. Then as the Midianite and Ishmaelite traders were passing by, the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and they sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And so they took Joseph as a captive into Egypt." Okay, so just a little bit of history with Joseph. We all know that, we know Joseph for the multicolored coat, but he was also very highly favored by his father. His dad probably loved him more than, a lot of his brothers. And because of that, his brothers were pretty jealous of him. So they sold him into slavery. This is after Joseph has had a dream. He's had a dream that God has given him, that, the stars and the moon will bow down to him. And, he told his family this, and they mocked him for it. And because of this dream, and because of his, the treatment that his father, the preferential treatment that his father gave him over his brothers, they became very, very jealous of him. So they sold him into slavery. And, Joseph ended up in the house of Potiphar, who was one of Pharaoh's chiefs. Now, at this point in time, Joseph could have been very, very upset with God, very, very angry about what's happened. He's been given this massive dream, and all of a sudden he's found himself as a slave in Egypt. And, even though he was going through that, he still put his head down and worked hard. He still worked hard and remained faithful to God. And, God lifted him up as a slave in Potiphar's house. Potiphar made him in charge of his household, because everything that he was doing it very, very well. And, after some time, obviously, Potiphar's wife decided, she took notice of him and decided to come on to him. Joseph refused. He refused her, and she told a lie about him and said that he had raped her. Now, now Joseph finds himself in prison for something that he didn't do. And, once again, he could have been very, very upset with God and said, "Look, God, I've done the right thing here. Why am I being penalized for doing the right thing?" But again, he remained faithful. He remained faithful and kept doing what he was faced to do. And because of that, he was made to look after, the prison guards and everything. So, two prisoners came in, Pharaoh's baker and wine bearer gave them both dreams, which came true. And then when Pharaoh had a dream, the wine bearer told Pharaoh about Joseph, and Joseph was sent for. Interpreted the dream that that Pharaoh had correctly, and Pharaoh made him, ruler over the whole of Egypt, literally second in command to him. Now, I sat back and I thought about this story, and I thought to myself, wow, Joseph's destiny was in Egypt. Because of Joseph being in Egypt, he was able to preserve the Israelites. Otherwise, the Israelites would have died of starvation, because there was a great famine in that land. So if it wasn't for Joseph being sold into slavery and going through what he did, going into jail, he probably would not have made it to be second in command and be able to preserve Israel as a nation. And it got me thinking that, you know, even though things in your life may not be positive, may be negative around you, you don't know where God is leading you. You know, the Bible says that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So, you know, I will say to you this morning, just flip your perspective. Wherever you find yourself in, whether it's negative or it could be a positive situation, but there's always a lesson to be learned while in the particular season. So ask God what lesson needs to be learned while you're going through it. Because, you know, the Bible also says that he will never leave nor forsake us. So you know that no matter what you're going through, God is by your side. But ask the Lord and ask him what lesson needs to be learned during this season. And yeah, everything will be all good. So yeah, hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that becomes a blessing to you. And yeah.